This channel started off in April 2017, all about crypto. But the last few years or so, life has got really interesting, so I've delved into politics. Well, in this video, I'm going to be talking about both crypto and politics in conversation with someone who's representing an organization which is fusing the two.
Take the first step towards online privacy. Get NordVPN.
Hi, this is Crypto Rich, working with you to get rich with crypto and get wise to what's going on in the political scene in the UK. I'm joined by a member of a new and upcoming political party. Now, before I introduce him, please subscribe, follow me on Twitter, CryptoRichYT, join my official Telegram announcements channel. And if you're watching this on YouTube, please come and support me on bit.ly/CryptoRich3Speak, bit.ly/CryptoRich Odyssey, and bit.ly/CryptoRich Rumble, which isn't up there yet, but one day it will be. So it's bit.ly/CryptoRich3Speak or Odyssey or Rumble. Okay, hey Dom, thank you so much for making yourself available. You are the founder or the leader or something of the other party.
Correct. Thanks for having me. Yes, the founding nobody. I like to put that's on LinkedIn anyway, because the whole point of it is to not have any leaders and to make sure it is sufficiently decentralized. So I don't want to be the CEO, president, founder, or give myself a title too power encapsulating. So founding nobody, because the whole point is in a direct democracy, everyone's voice should matter and be equal.
Okay, this is interesting because I'm all for decentralization and grassroots democratization versus top down, being told what to do and how to do it and where we can go out and who we can mix with and what we must wear and what medical interventions we must have. Okay, now we'll come to it now. It's called the other party. Well, the first thing I was thinking about this conversation is that what kind of a name is the other party? Because, there's the conservative with a small c, possibly, right? Labour, designed to set up the Labour Party, Green Party with their green politics. But the other party doesn't, I don't know what it's about.
It's the other option, really, as in that's the name is synonymous with the fact that right now there is no other option. Right now, if you vote for Labour or for the Conservatives, you are, voting for pretty much the same policies. I mean, there's no change in political stance in terms of, right, left, middle. We have two very, very centrist candidates. Like, the only things that they're differing in is, just standard backbench stuff, and Conservatives being Conservatives, Labour being Labour. The only thing they have in common is, that they hate the other one. But policy-wise, they're all looking at the same sort of, deficits, the same short terms and short-sighted policies, which are just there to get them into the next election cycle. And then there's no actual commitment to building the future. It's like a bunch of CEOs who are trying to just get through 2 years and give zero thought to anything after that, just getting into 4-year, 5-year cycle. But by the time they announce the leadership contest, they're all just looking ahead to the next election. So the point of the other party is that whenever anyone mentions it, I'm voting for the other party, which other party, what other party, it gets a response. Because they're going to ask, as in, which one are you talking about and what are you talking about? And it automatically leads people to explain it. So that's the idea with it. It just gives a back and forth. As in, if you say to someone, obviously not a lot of people ask this question, who are you voting for? And someone says Labour or Conservative, it's just like, oh, okay. But if it's the other party, it's which other party? What other party? So it actually gets a conversation going. So hopefully that leads to some sort of conversion, but it gives people a chance to explain it.
Okay, so then what are your main tenets?
Our main policy is that we have no policies. It's like the first rule of Fight Club. Don't talk about Fight Club, but first rule of the other party is definitely to talk about the other party. The idea is a direct democracy, removing the centralized point of failure from politics, which as we see it, is the politician, because the job of a politician is supposed to be to enact the will of their constituents. And if you take a look at their voting records and compare it to the will of the people, it's just absolutely backwards. The main example of it recently was with the vote on, Israel-Palestine ceasefire. It doesn't even matter, that vote, as in it's not going to have an impact. It was purely just a vote on for the people to see, and the vote was just, should there be a ceasefire where people stop killing each other? It won't have any impact, but still 70% of people voted for let's keep blowing each other up. In reality, if you took that vote to the people, you'd have the opposite, because it wasn't partisan. You weren't taking sides. It was just, should these people in a far off land stop murdering each other, yes or no? And most people voted no, keep killing each other.
Most MPs did, yeah.
Yeah, why? Yeah. It just makes zero sense whatsoever. As in, there's no. If you gave that vote to the people, should people stop blowing each other up? It's stuff like even with climate change policies. I'm a believer in climate change, but what frustrates me and what I don't understand is that we need to destroy agriculture and farmland because cows fart too much, but bombs and tank rounds do not release any emissions whatsoever. No. When Nord Stream was blown up and all of that methane gas was coming into the atmosphere, nobody gave any about it.
War is the most environmentally friendly undertaking that these climate change advocates undertake. So you on that one, it's complete. No, it's complete hypocrisy. And the whole climate change is a whole other conversation, right? But okay, let me push back a little, right? Mm-hmm. And one, I completely get, just how that ceasefire vote, or even the war in Iraq. I went in that demo. Most people are opposed to that war. That the government didn't represent the will of the people, which is a perversion of the 1688 Bill of Rights, which it's not an act, it's a bill, it's an agreement between the people and the monarch, that they set up Parliament as the representatives of the people, and Parliament can't repeal that because it's what gave birth to Parliament. Yeah. And one of the clauses in there is that Parliament cannot pass legislation that is to the prejudice of the people. But they do that anyway. Mm. And then I think the example about war, it's never ordinary people that want to go to war. It's the rich elite, the oligarchs that want to send other people's sons to war. Mm. I mean, David Cameron's not going to send his kids. He's going to send my kids. He can take a hike. Mm. So yes, I get it, right? But then that direct democracy, well, surely you have to have some fundamental principles. Because I was thinking about this, like you've got to be at least opposed to censorship, because direct democracy requires people to have information, access to information. So, for example, with the medical intervention that was all the rage a few years ago, there was a lot of censorship. Alternatives were censored and omitted from the discourse. And the same thing, Dom, is happening with climate change. The scientists like the Nobel Peace Prize winner for physics 2022, he says it's a complete scam. It's not carbon dioxide. They're censored, deplatformed.
Yeah, I mean the main point of when I say not having any policies as a party is that the policies are not party led. As in, I do not pre-write that we are for or against censorship. We allow for the people to vote on policy. So the first iteration of the direct democracy platform is votes on what should be contained policy-wise in the manifesto, because we don't want to preset that or preset the nation's decisions, in that we won't be and haven't sent the voting app live because we need to build up a wide enough electorate so that we can't just have like the first 100 people deciding policies for the manifesto. There has to be a process of getting a wide and varied electorate using and aware of the platform. So the first iteration will be building up that manifesto and building up those policies. And what I like about direct democracy and the way that it works is it pulls people into the political process rather than pushing them out. One of the best examples of this is with Jeremy Corbyn, for example. So Jeremy Corbyn, he refused the Holocaust Memorial Society's definition of anti-Semitism. In reality, he only rejected one of, I think, 6 of the principles, and the one principle that he rejected was that it is anti-Semitic to oppose the state of Israel. Obviously, the media ran with a narrative of rejected the whole thing. In reality, it was just that one point. And so that is enough and was enough for a lot of people to throw their hands up and say, well, I've read that headline, I can't support Labour because of that one policy or one rejection. And it's the same with anything. If you look at if you asked 1,000 people in a room, should serial child murderers get the death penalty? If you asked 1,000 people in a room what their opinion was on that, you'd probably find that over 50% would say that they are for that. Whether you believe or not in capital punishment, if that policy passed, even though over 50% of people might have agreed with it, a lot of people, rightly so, would say, I do not believe the state should have any opinion or any decision or matter of life and death of its citizens ever. And so I can no longer support that party because of that one policy. But a direct democracy, you cannot just remove yourself from the process, because if that policy passes in the current democracy, then people can say, oh, I can't support you anymore, I'm off. Not necessarily off to another party, not necessarily off anywhere, just I can't vote for you anymore. With direct democracy, if you do that, you only make your opposition louder. You cannot abdicate responsibility from the political process due to policies passing that you do not agree with. In fact, it incentivizes you to get involved, to get as many other people involved as possible, because if your opposite ideology keeps on winning, you can't just say, oh, I'm out, because they're only going to get more and more through, and that's only stuff that's going to hurt you. And so rather than pushing people away from the political process, it drags them in. And if people say as well, oh, well, people are stupid, I don't trust the people to make the decisions. Well, you'll need to get involved yourself then. You need to get your friends who you do trust and other people that you trust involved who see the same ideology as you. You've got to bring them in, because if you don't trust the people who are voting, then you need to actually take control of that, because you can't just abdicate responsibility. Everyone's doing that currently.
Yeah, no, Don, what that reminds me of is the referendum, the Brexit referendum. There was so much debate, about it. People, I know lots and lots of conversations in my family and with my friends, which way we're going to vote, because we had some say. So there wasn't like, I completely get, it's like if I didn't participate, well, then I'm going to give voice to the opposing view. Okay, that's good. Then the other point that you made earlier about it's not just going to be for the 100 or 200 or 1,000 or whatever the first members of the other party to set the manifesto. So you want more people to join in. But how will the manifesto get created? Is it just party members or anybody?
Yeah, anyone with the way that it's going to work is that we've set up a system using some third parties where we're trying to remove any front-end Web3 blockchain functionality away from the process. As in, we want it to be a system that's still going to require some work, like setting up a bank account. You've still got to submit, KYC to the bank. Obviously, with us, we're going to allow and whitelist third-party KYC providers, because the way that we've done it is that people who are familiar with crypto can sign in with their wallet, and when they sign in with their wallet, they will give an email address alongside it. People who are not familiar with Web3, they can sign up with an email address, and we create a wallet on the back end, which means that whether it's a Web3 native KYCing their wallet or a non-Web3 native just KYCing through their email automatically, then at every step in time, we have an email address and a wallet, which is the exact same person, which means that anyone who can prove that they're a UK resident, whether they are Web3 native or not, we on the back end have created the wallet for every email sign up. And therefore, if we know that the email address has been KYC'd, we know the wallet that is associated with that, and vice versa. If we have the wallet, we know the email address associated with that, which means that they can prove they are a UK resident without needing to tell us who they are.
Right. I mean,
and this way,
straight away,
can sign up.
I can create loads of email addresses and loads of wallets. Wallet address, not a problem for me. And then would I get extra votes?
Well, no, because you need to KYC in order to vote on the platform.
Okay, so everybody needs to be KYC'd.
Yeah, okay. But the point is with this system, they don't need to be KYC to us, as in they just KYC through a third-party provider.
Right.
Their details never come through to us. The third-party provider will let us know when an email or wallet from our database of signups has undergone KYC, and then we mint a soul-bound NFT to that wallet, because we know that we've always created a wallet with any email sign up, and we've always, had an email with any wallet, and therefore we can always give governance rights to a UK resident, but we don't actually need to have their name, address, phone number, or anything ourselves. So we'll always have only UK residents and citizens voting on UK policy.
Okay, so then I have, presumably, I'd get a token that I can vote with once I've completed the KYC. And have I joined the party? Do I need to pay a membership fee?
Not at present. We're looking at a few ways that we can do it. I mean, the idea is to have, merchandise and memorabilia sales to fund the party, but we're also looking at ways that we can, because there's going to be certain elements which are party controlled, as in, it's not fully decentralized, and it can't be, for the very reason that someone needs to submit this political application and people need to do work in a centralized fashion. It can't be a DAO, because by UK law, voting rights make it a security. So for that reason, there's a centralized element, which is the party, and then there's a decentralized element, which is just, sign-ups and votes on the policy. So we can't necessarily give governance rights with our memorabilia token, because we can't have that as a security, but we can issue soul-bound NFTs to allow for those governance rights. So we're thinking that potentially we might have a party membership which gives people votes without any sort of token, based on being a paying member, just like a normal political party. But the actual voting on policy needs to be everyone, because otherwise it's just another political party.
Okay. And then what sort of or how does the voting mechanism work?
So the way that we're looking to do it is via consensus on, as in percentages of consensus will affect the what's the word I'm looking for? The ability to raise a flag or question the outcome. For example, if we have constituency level voting, would come down to, let's say that 80% of the electorate approve a policy. That becomes national policy, because obviously not everyone's always going to be happy, but 80% is a very, very large consensus, the UK population that agree with this. That becomes national level policy taken on by every constituency. Then if you have 65% plus, that can be broken down and flagged to a constituency level vote, because I think it was Scotland had 70% remain and still obviously lost out to the rest. So 65%, then that goes to the constituency. Obviously they can then approve or disapprove it, and it's not necessarily applied just blanket to national policy. And then at a level less than that. So the consensus decision making drops down to regions and to localities to make sure that we're not blanket approaching everything. But at the same time, like I say, we can't have it as complete carnage where one person can order a recount on every single aspect, because otherwise it becomes just completely bureaucratic and completely, people just sometimes just like to throw spanners in, even every vote you can find someone asking for a recount, just because there's always a busybody. So there has to be a level of yes, some people are going to not be happy with everything. We have to accept a certain level of that versus making it efficient. So efficiency versus ability to, order recount where they believe it's necessary. That's the balance that we need to strike with these votes, and also having a forum for people to debate and discuss. And before any vote goes live, because with proposals, with policies in particular, once, if the voting application begins to be used for policies that actually get implemented into law, obviously this would be after there's a majority and it's super far off, and but even singular words in law can open up interpretations so much, as in just the wrong wording can mean that something is specific, or it allows people to bend the rules. So you need to have a system where, almost like a Reddit style forum, where suggestions and amendments can be suggested even down to the way that someone words something, or an error in like the grammar, which can potentially
I
flag
completely get
something.
it. Like in statute, there's a big difference between, say, the word shall or the way must, or the word must.
Mm,
Must do this, or you may do this,
yeah.
right? So in legalese, it's critical, absolutely critical. Okay, now surely people can. The voting system is going to be secure because I assume there's going to be a token involved to register votes or something like that, and then that's
Yeah. So,
how
well,
you can see.
there's two elements to the blockchain functionality. So, the way that we have, so the voting mechanism is done by a soulbound NFT. So, our our blockchain functionality has been very influenced by uh, the rules and regulations around sort of blockchain tokens in the UK. There is, I don't know who wrote the policy, but from my experience in uh, regulated finance from before this, one thing I've learned is that policy isn't necessarily written to be clear. It's written to allow for them to come after you no matter what, because it's so like muddy and opaque that it just means that there's always a way that they can say, oh no, but this bit. And I think so. Basically, 5 out of 6 of the rules on crypto tokens in the UK are clear. And then one is that if the token is tradable on any exchange or marketplace, then that makes it a security, which obviously means that the local fruit and veg market, if you sell a banana, you're trading on a marketplace and that banana is a security. But again, there's always like 1 out of 6 that makes 0 sense, because that means that no matter what you do, they can always find one thing. So we satisfy every single rule that makes sense, apart from the one which means that every token in existence is a security, which is obviously there for that very purpose. So that's been led with the proof of donation token, because it is purely just the exact same thing as attending a local like conservative party run village fete, and you put 50p into a bucket and then they give you a little sticker that says I donated to the Conservative Party. The only difference is ours is digital and on the blockchain. But there is zero difference. It's political memorabilia, which is sold on every single political party's website, just like anything else. So that's on the ERC20 token side. The way that governance is being done is what I mentioned before about email address sign-ups. We create a wallet on the back end. But for that individual who doesn't know blockchain, they just have their voting account. They don't see that there is a wallet in there with a soulbound NFT.
Right.
That's all just on the back end. They just have a voting account. They've KYC'd through a third party. We've issued the soulbound NFT, and that way we don't have a blockchain hurdle for anybody.
Right.
And it means that we can require that we can have both the ERC20 proof of donation token and the governance aspect, which one of the 6 rules by the FCA is voting rights make it a security, and therefore we have the soulbound NFTs, which are not transferable, which is the 6th one that that no ERC20 or transferable ERC20 can approve. But for the governance side, we have the soulbound ones, which do actually not get that 6th one under it as well. So that's the way that it works on the blockchain side and how we're building it out.
Okay. Well, if it's not transferable, it can't be a security because it can't be bought and sold.
Yeah, exactly. That's on the NFT side.
Okay.
The soulbound NFT, yeah.
Right. All right. And then people can use that, or that's to identify themselves, and then they get their vote because they have that.
Correct.
Okay. Now, what happens if people vote on something completely crazy and insane? Like you should change your name to, I don't know, was it McBoaty Party or something?
Voting with Boatface.
Boaty McFo. Yeah, you should be Party. I can't even say it.
Party McPartyface.
Yes.
I mean, this is where I say that unfortunately, you have to have a certain. Well, there's two elements. As in number one, you need active DAO / voting. Any sort of any party, any like politics, any DAO, anywhere where there is voting to come to a consensus, you need to have a certain level of bringing together the opposing side of people who are actually like sensible and not trying to take PISS. Because if things pass which are ridiculous, The people who care about the party are going to say, guys, we look like a joke here. Can we get more people involved, please, so we don't have these stupid proposals passing? And we as the party need to sort of allow that process to happen. We can't necessarily reach in and just be like, that's ridiculous, because then we're having an opinion. So we need to allow the sort of the ridiculous policies to lead people into the opposing side, because if we do that ourselves, then we are just perpetuating the fact that people can not get involved because they know that we will come in and step in if it's too ridiculous. We need to, unfortunately, even if it does make us party face, we do need to allow for that mechanism to play out, because otherwise people get you can see the apathy in the UK right now to the fact that it's so. I mean, right now it is the equivalent of like party face. Yeah. Like that level of ridiculousness, like that we're seeing right now, and people are so apathetic to it because everyone just abdicates responsibility. And the thing is, no one wants to get involved, because why would they? Like, they see what happens to people who challenge the status quo. They see the absolute dire straits that it's in, and no one in their right mind wants to try and like get into that. Luckily, I'm not in my right mind. But
I can see that. No, I can see that. Like, I'm politically lost, right? Because to me, it just seems like whether it's the Lib Dems or the Green or the Labour Party or the Tories, all I'm getting is Agenda 2030 and the WEF party policy. Yeah. That's all I'm getting, right? Now, I don't want I would like, at this stage, I would like a Tory party that was a traditional Tory party. I would like that.
Back in the days where it wasn't neoconservatism.
Yeah, or that valued family and small business and that kind of stuff, right? And Christianity, even though I'm not a Christian, but it's just important. So I completely get the apathy, because we're not being represented at all, and we don't have an access to represent them. And I think it's even worse in the European Union because MEPs can't propose legislation. But the thing about allowing frivolous policies in would then also allow dangerous policies in. You could have a situation where people say, okay, everybody has to have a certain medical intervention, whether they like it or not. I'm like, oh, wait a minute, I think the Nuremberg Code should stand for something. Right?
Then the vote comes in, repeal the Nuremberg. Oh my God. Well, no, but this is where I say that.
But I mean, would you be envisage a situation where you'd be voting on a basic constitution? Could that happen?
As in, well, the first iteration of voting is sort of building up that manifesto, which, what is a party manifesto at the end of the day? Unfortunately, it's like the ministerial code of conduct. Like, it's there, but, just like a manifesto, that Labour and the Conservatives say they're going to come in and do something, and, there's nothing actually holding them to it. The good thing about, like, blockchain is that it's proof of why you were voted in, what you were voted in to serve, and if you don't enact that, it's a standing record forever. There's no like amendments or like interpretations of, oh well, yeah, but we said we were going to improve housing. In reality, people think, oh, maybe that means that we might be able to afford something. No, we said improve housing, that we build an extra 10% of new developments are now council or something like. There's always a get out of jail free card, basically, because they can say, well, we did improve housing in this one really far flung metric that no one looks at. So this is just proof of what the policy was, what was voted through, and exactly why it passed. That's the way that we're looking to keep a standing record. But at the same time, yeah, like I say, we have to not be too involved, and dangerous policies, stupid policies. We can't take too much of a view on what those are. Because what is a dangerous policy to some people is just like some people think speaking of like family stuff, and like some people would define a dangerous policy as let's reduce the divorce waiting time to a week. Some people say, well, that's a dangerous policy because people need a cooling off period. And again, some people be like, yeah, why not? It doesn't seem that dangerous. But again, that's what is someone's interpretation of what is dangerous and what is not. Obviously, like if there was a vote like let's, nuke Japan just for no reason, and that passed, and it's like, oh damn it, we got to nuke Japan now. In like cases like that, of course, we wouldn't be like, oh god, people have said do it.
Well, I think, but there's also something else, right? Which I think in my own experience, and I joined the anti-apartheid movement when I was 18, and being involved in activist politics where people are engaged, I think they tend to come up with the right reasons. Or they don't come up with frivolous stuff. So, for example, with Brexit or people being involved in the anti-poll tax campaign, people got actively involved, or I was around in the miners' strike in 1979. So there was a lot of political awakening then because people started engaging in that conversation. So hopefully not frivolous and hopefully not dangerous.
Mm.
Where are you at in your growth as a party? Because you said earlier you don't have the app worked out. I mean, what stage of development are you at? Who are the people behind it? How are you funding yourself?
So it's more in terms of the app worked out. So there's two stages to it. As in the final policy level voting app is separate sort of manifesto voting app, and at the same time, even once ready, we need to have enough sort of emails or wallets signed up and KYC, so that we're not just sending it live with 10 people as KYC to vote, and those 10 people decide the manifesto policies for
Right.
everybody. So it's more the case of the tail wagging the dog and which part leads the rest. So what we have done now is the first time we submitted our constitution, we got pushed back on just some normal like admin stuff. Then the second time, they started mentioning some of the crypto stuff, and so we had to go back and talk that, and we've resubmitted the third time, hopefully answering and have covered all of the crypto stuff and all of the admin stuff, and so that should be on the register probably by the time this video comes out, and that's where we are with like the actual party itself, because the rules state that any donation below £500 is completely outside of the scope of Petra, and so the proof of donation token, just like how people put 50p in a village fete, they don't say give me your ID and passport. Ours is exactly the same as that. So that's the stage we're at with the party, and sending the voting application live is separate to having it ready to go live. And really, we need the legitimacy of being an official political party rather than just an applicant in order to get those sign-ups. Because, especially at first, because our first audience is going to be Web3 natives probably before it cascades downwards. People don't want a KYC for we are just a blockchain idea at the moment.
Right.
So once we have that extra legitimacy by being a true political party, then we'll be able to snowball a lot quicker.
Okay. Now, I assume you've got some background in crypto.
I do,
Given
yes.
how freely you talk about it, right? I'm surprised that you're choosing an ERC20 token, unless it's going to be one of the on Polygon or something like that.
Well, the idea is to go as and when we're led by demand. Ethereum. Oh, and also the governance soulbound token isn't necessarily going to be on the same chains as, but again, we're covering the gas fees internally, but we're minting that to people's wallets rather than them clicking themselves, because again, we want the process to be completely non-web free for those email signups, as in they won't have to like click a mint button and approve a transaction because they'll be like, what's going on? So we're doing all of that internally. So on the governance side, it doesn't actually matter the chain because there's no interaction with smart contracts on the user end. With the proof of donation token, obviously there are gas fees there and we will be led by demand, but at present we haven't had the necessary demand to scale that a bit. So the proof of donation token is like a digital sticker and a badge of I believe in direct democracy, I believe in blockchain for voting, and that's how we want to see the take up of that. And as and when there is demand on other chains and we get to that scaled phase, then we can certainly look at, like, a few people have said launch on Solana back when Solana, just everything going on Solana was going higher, but not very decentralized, is it?
I don't like blockchains that can just, okay, we're just going to stop this one now.
So yeah, these are all considerations. As in, there's always it's like politics on the left. Everyone argues about how left you should be. So it's the same with decentralization. Everyone argues about how it's like I can't stand it in because speaking of my background, I first started my first first protocol and company event studios were launched August 31st, 2021. Got to 600 mil FTV, about 115 circulating with on Qcoin Wallaby, and I've got other projects since that as well. But yeah, there's always an argument of if you claim to have a decentralized project and you kick someone who's like, giving abuse in your Telegram, some people say, why did you kick him? That's centralized. And it's like, so we should just allow anyone to post whatever they want. Those scammers who come in and say, I saw a 100x with @pump signals 100x, join for their next pump. We should leave that as well then, should we? Like, where does your view of decentralization stop? Should we just allow all spam? Or should we actually just agree that social medias can't be decentralized, because then we'll just have people posting whatever they want and taking it down. So
well, I think in that instance, the thing about respecting the rules, because what's happening on social media, say on Telegram, is people are having a conversation. So you've got to respect the rules of that conversation and be consistent with that conversation. You want to go and have a conversation about pump signals or something like that, go to some Telegram group that's set up for that. This is set up for this. And it's going so yeah, I suppose that there's got to be that in order for workability. Otherwise, it ain't going to work. And then what you then have, I suppose, in that group, and this may be getting a bit too technical for non-crypto buffs, is each person in that conversation is a node, and they give consensus. So if I suddenly start talking about something that's completely irrelevant to this conversation, well, you're a node in this conversation, and you may say, well, I'm not going to. I don't know what the right phrasing would be in English, right? Give consensus to that. But anybody can join as long as they honor the consensus of that particular conversation. Anyway, that's a philosophical response there, right?
Participation, maybe that's the word. Participant or participator.
Yeah,
participator.
It's like how Bitcoin, the Bitcoin miners will reject a dishonorable transaction, a fraudulent transaction. They'll reject double spend because it's not following the rules of that consensus.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, funding. So if I'm going to give a POD, I want to get this POD token or whatever.
What token? Yeah.
Yeah. What am I going to do with this bloody token? If it's got to be fungible or tradable or something, and then we get into all sorts of issues.
Well, what issues?
Well, I want my token to be really, really valuable. I want it to be worth 100 million billion zillion tomorrow. So
you can want that. I mean, but at the end of the day, it's the same as if you are given with the other party. It is our first run at politics, and if you were to have, I don't know the year of their founding, but let's say that the Labour Party was founded in the 80s or something. Obviously, it's probably more like the 1880s, but
it's just over 100 years old, I think.
Yeah. So if you happen to have a sticker from that first year back 100 years ago,
Keir Hardie, a receipt signed by Keir Hardie, the founder of the Labour Party,
then you may find that if you tried to sell that, then it could be worth a lot. But obviously, you would have had to hold on to that for a long time. And if you look on the internet and you Google political memorabilia, you will see that there are many whole businesses set up which sell that. And obviously, those bumper stickers were probably sold back in the day of John F. Kennedy bumper stickers, or that's how the pod token could do really well if I'm assassinated. That's a surefire way for political memorabilia to increase in value. But jokes aside, you find that political memorabilia is a collector's item, and how do you define value? People who go onto the Labour website or Conservative website and they buy a Margaret Thatcher mug, they aren't necessarily buying that because they want to speculate on it. They're buying that because they are a Thatcherite, and they value the same values, and they want people who see their kitchen to see that mug and know their values. And just like if you are transacting and interacting on the blockchain and you have the proof of donation token in your wallet, then people will know what you are valuing. And it's, there's no difference. The only difference is perceived and digital. And that's the exact reason why we have the proof of donation token, because it allows people to keep hold of their sticker and their proof that they donated whilst contributing to the party. And so that's the premise.
Right. Okay. All right. And then where are you at now in your growth and development? What's next for you?
So yeah, like I say, we should have, by the time people are watching this, you should be able to see our latest application on the Electoral Commission site. If not, then it will be up there probably in the next few days. And that's should get approved because we've had 2 feedbacks, one on the crypto side, one on the admin side. The app is under development still, and we're looking for sign-ups via the website, whether that's interacting with a wallet or with an email. So if you are interested in getting involved and you want to be one of the first people using the app and getting policy decided and putting stuff onto the manifesto, then yeah, please do sign up on the website, because we can then whitelist you. Get you KYC'd. You can use any third-party provider. If you've used one in the past, then you can use the exact same one. We just need to know that your wallet has undergone that, and prove you're a UK resident to any third-party provider with legitimacy, and we can accept that. And we're looking forward to getting the app out and getting people interacting. But I say looking forward. There's going to be a lot of interesting debates, I'm sure, but it'll be interesting to manage.
Yes. Well, I think, Don, what you're doing is pioneering.
Thank you. I hope other people see it the same.
Well, it is. It's completely different, because direct democracy, I know I talk about it like, people having a direct saying how their lives are run or whatever, but I haven't worked out any sort of system, come up with an idea how that could happen. And you and the other people in the other party are creating something that would allow for that. Now, whether it's going to work or not, I don't know. Whether it will fall off, or succeed, I don't know. But that's the risk of being a pioneer. When Satoshi Nakamoto released the code for Bitcoin, did he have any idea where it was going to be? Was it 15 years down the line? Who knows? We shall see. All right.
Yeah.
Doc, is there anything else you want to say before we finish up?
No, I just say, check out our socials at the Other Party UK on X/Twitter. I'm at Dominic Vemp if you want to check out my I don't like to give too heavy a political opinion because I don't influence anything, but I'm sure you'll read between the lines of a lot of my posts anyway and see where I lean. But yeah, follow us on Twitter, on our socials, jump onto the website, sign up. If you want to help out, there's areas that you can fill out a form and see how you can give us a helping hand. We're always keen for people to sort of jump in, and there's a lot to do, and at the end of the day, with direct democracy, you are what you put in, and we want to have the power given back to the people and to allow for us to make our own mistakes rather than be led down the mistakes of our elite society, and just if we have successes, they're ours, and if we have mistakes, they're ours as well, and that way we own them and we don't get pushed to one side or one other side based on the way that they lead us. We can be masters of our own destiny. Give us a follow, jump in and get involved.
Okay, and I'll have all the links in the description below. Thank you so much for this conversation, and do get back to me, because I'm interested. In a way, I would much prefer if there was a party out there that had the ready-made policies that I want already, and then I don't have to do any work. Yep, that ticks all my boxes, right? But what you're doing is novel and valuable, and I think does encourage participation. And I think you would agree with me. We both want people getting more involved in, we have a say in how our lives are run, and we need to stop pretending that we don't have a say, and we need to stop giving away our power and our responsibility on how our lives are run, because otherwise it ain't looking good if we just let the oligarchs and the elites have the say over our lives. No, thank you. All right, Dom, thank you so much. Anybody who's watching, comments, questions, please share this video far and wide on your social media and everything so other people can find out. And if you're not from the UK, share it on your social media, because maybe somebody in your country is going to get this idea of how they can fuse politics, how they can create direct democracy using crypto. Why not? Dom, thank you so much. This is Crypto Rich. Dom signing out. All the best. Bye-bye.